able to track sources of sales and track revenue of sales. So first, a marketing campaign must be created or established, and the way that you do that is under the Create New menu in the New Marketing Campaign option. Now, I'm also going to show you right now a few of our marketing campaigns that I've already set up in my test database here. So I'm going to create a workspace to be able to see marketing campaigns, and we'll call this marketing. My workspace names, we'll give it 2 panels here. My top panel is going to be selected for marketing campaigns because I do have the marketing role assigned to myself again. Next, I'll see all active campaigns. And then in Driven, you also have the capability to put a campaign into history where it's no longer active in drop-down boxes, but it still exists for reporting purposes. So we'll look at both of those. Now, my default information that shows up is just the campaign type and the employee name, so I'll show some more visible columns here so that we can see the description of the campaign, also when it's supposed to start, how much revenue it's generated, and what type it is. That should be enough for us to see. So back to my marketing campaign workspace here. I'm going to be able to see this information. I have a 10% off promo for the month of January. It started January 1st of this year, and it has generated so far $465.04 in sales. So that much in sales has been attributed to or linked to this particular marketing campaign. Also, my Tampa trade show has generated $298. So let's look at a little bit of detail of that one. If I open up my Tampa trade show marketing campaign, what I'm going to be able to see here is that it is still an active campaign. It's not put in history yet. I didn't put in a budget amount. I could put that in. That's available to be seen on that screen as well to be able to show how much my budget was to spend on this campaign versus how much revenue has been generated. Now at the bottom of here, I'm going to be able to see that my only subscriber currently that I have is a sales lead called Jen Sherwood. Okay, so right now, as I see this, the only person who that was chosen as the source is Jen Sherwood. So I'm always able to see what individuals are currently linked to this marketing campaign within here. The bottom portion of my marketing campaign screen is used to connect to MailChimp, which we're going to talk about signing up for a MailChimp account today and how to do that, how to use that. And last is to be able to do some discounting or promotional pricing with this. Okay, so we'll come back to that one because I want to use my 10% off promotion, show you how that one works. But I do want to show you the places where a marketing campaign is chosen within Driven then. And that is as you're creating a new lead or a new customer, either one of those options within Driven have the ability to choose a source. So this drop-down list is going to be populated by any of my marketing campaigns that are still set to be active. So here's my entire list of active marketing campaigns right now. And as I create new leads or new customers, that goes into the promotion source field. Also, once that lead or once that individual gets created as an account, if they get promoted from a lead to an account, or if they get created as an account, okay, so any of my qualified leads in here have the opportunity. I have a customer here called Disney World, and if I open them up, I'm able to see once the account has been created that under their update account information, I have the ability to link them to a source. Okay. That was their originating promotion. How did they originally find out about us, in other words? So I have that to track their original, how did you hear about us, and then what is called the current promotion. Current promotion is what is going to default anytime a new order is created for this customer. And this can change from time to time probably. Now that it's, the month of July, maybe I need to switch this to a new special that we're offering for this month or something. I have the ability to update and add that information right there. So in a way, there are two marketing campaigns linked to this customer account. how they originally heard about me. That one probably is never going to change. And then my current promotion, which can be updated periodically. Now, again, back to that customer account here. When I'm in this customer account, if I choose to create a new proposal or sales order, when I do that and I pick a contact first, so we're going to sell this to Mickey Mouse, his marketing campaign is going to default to the Tampa Trade Show. So that current promotion gets populated into here automatically, but could be overridden. Okay, so let's say that I want to still attribute this sale to the 10% off promotion for the month of January. That's still an active promotion for me, let's say. I can do that when I choose to save and create that. As I am adding particular items to that order, depending upon how that marketing campaign is set up, I'm going to be able to see I don't have any discounts available on that item. So let's go check how that particular marketing campaign for my January promotion was set. So if I go back to my marketing workspace here, my 10% off promotion for the month of January is set to be a discount type of promotion. It's going to take 10% off of anything within the general product category right now. So two options for you when you are putting together promotions or discounting type marketing campaigns. And those are to be able to offer a discount percentage off of a category or multiple categories in here, or to be able to specify individual pricing for specific items. So you can see if I choose that radio button right now, I've set my interface kit to be at a new price of $42.50 and my keyboard to be $3.50. So let's go back to our sales order and find some products that are in our general product category. So if I go back to that here in my particular orders, I'm going to show categories on my visible columns here. So we'll add primary category to my visible columns. I've got one here that's a general product. It doesn't have a price on it. Here we go. I have a custom build item for $500. When I choose general product for that item and select it at the, it's a group. Hold on. Pick something that's not a group here. This is my test database. I have a tendency to play with the numbers that are in here. So I have a particular new interface kit. Its normal retail-based price is $50. However, you notice this got priced at $45 because of the fact that it is linked to that particular marketing campaign. This one's also a group kind of kit item. So because of the fact that this is linked to that marketing campaign, my price got discounted to $45 automatically. So it took 10% off of whatever my retail price was. So that is how that is going to apply itself to the order. And now I will go ahead and save that order, save that item to the order. That sale is going to get attributed to the 10% off for January. Right now it is still in a quotation proposal status though, so it does not update the revenue column until I progress that order to a confirmed sales order or above. So that will then update the revenue amount for that marketing campaign. Okay, so now if I go back to my main marketing campaign screen here, and I refresh that screen, I now have $587.06 worth of revenue generated to the 10% off for January promotion. So that is how Driven is used for marketing campaigns to track how individual leads or customers heard about you, how much revenue has been generated as a result of them, and also some basics on how to be able to do discounts within Driven. I don't typically spend a lot of time on it. Discounting functionality is pretty straightforward and basic, but wanted to show you that it is available there for you to be able to link to a marketing campaign. Now, I wanted to spend the rest of the time today then discussing the integration between Driven and MailChimp to be able to do email broadcastings. So the very first requirement of that is to be able to get a MailChimp account. So you'll notice when I go in here to create a new marketing campaign right now, when I generate this campaign, we'll call it the newsletter special for July. I'll pick a type for it. We'll make it an email broadcast type. Since it is going to be used for a email broadcasting type of a capability, I do not have to fill in the valid from or the valid to dates. These two fields are only going to be required if this marketing campaign is going to be used for discounting purposes. And then no matter whether or not the marketing campaign is active, it will only apply discounts within that date range. So in other words, if that particular discount had stopped as of February 1st, I'd put the valid to date as February 1st, and then even though I chose it now in July, it would not apply the discount because the valid to date has expired. So I could still attribute sales to that marketing campaign, but would no longer automatically discount things. Okay. I did forget to address that when we were talking about discounting there. I wanted to make sure I brought that up. There's a budget amount field for this marketing campaign as well. I'm allowed to spend, $150 on it. I can go ahead and record that here. The campaign manager is who is in charge of or responsible for the campaign, and the list that appears here is populated by our resource drop-down box. Okay, so everybody who's set up and driven as an employee would show up here. A place to put comments or notes. This is a general notes area about this marketing campaign. It's really only visible when you're opening, editing, and actively working in the campaign. So it'll be an internal note maybe about this is going to be a new newsletter to all theme parks. So a little note from me to remind me what this campaign is doing. All right, and we'll choose to create the campaign. Now I get the rest of my screen populated with my options for how this campaign is going to work. Okay. The very first thing I'm going to have to do is sign up for a MailChimp account because I need to input my MailChimp login and password and my API key, which I'll get through MailChimp. So we're going to use the built-in hyperlink here to sign up for a free MailChimp account. It's going to take me to the main MailChimp site and ask me to sign up. Okay, so we'll put in my email address here. I pick a username. Not available. Okay, so we'll go driven training. I didn't think I could add a space in there. Okay. So we'll call it driven training for our username and our password. We'll create one there. Okay. I'm going to make a quick note of that so I remember to type it into my other screen here, because that will need to be my login information. So make sure that you write that down when you're creating it. Okay, so I've got that information recorded. I choose to create my account there. I'm not going to have Firefox remember that, and then it sends me an email to activate my account. So now I will have to go check my email. Open that up. I do have an email in here from MailChimp. Okay. And I can now log in. So let's go ahead and exit this screen here. I'm going to click on their links here to be able to get started. So we'll go to their MailChimp login page. That one's going to open in Internet Explorer on my other window there. And I'm actually going to use my login information. Okay, we'll log in. Never activated. Okay, and we have to type in this. Type in the 2 words. I'm having a little trouble reading that. That's pretty blurry on here. B-R-Y-Y-E-T-S. Okay. We'll get logged in. We've confirmed our humanity, and we are now welcome to MailChimp. Okay. So I need to finish setting up my account information with them. So we'll put in my information here. I put in address. Oh, it's actually Brandon. Okay, organization, you can put your company name in here. So that way it'll brand everything for you. Okay, and an industry that you're in. This is useful for MailChimp because they do some comparisons of how well your particular marketing campaigns are doing versus others in your similar industry. So I believe I have to put myself down as computers and electronics. I think that was the closest I could get to what we were looking for in my particular industry. Okay. And then we need a security question. So if you could be any animal, what would you be? And we'll put dog in there. And we'll save and we'll get started. And now we've set up our MailChimp account. So now we need an API key to link that to Driven. So that is done under the account settings. We'll go to API keys and authorized applications. And we will add a key. Okay, so as simple as this over here. We'll click this Add a Key button. And it says, here is your API key. So this is the information that we need to populate into Driven here. So I'm going to copy this. And we'll leave this open here. I'll go back to my Driven screen. Close out that email. And in my particular email, marketing campaign setup screen here, I will paste in my API key. I will also give it my MailChimp login there. And my password. So we'll save and validate that. So that's how you sign up for a new MailChimp account, where you get the particular API key information and where you paste that into Driven. That is a one-time setup step that needs to be done with MailChimp. Okay, so that's creating your account, getting your API key, and getting it into Driven there. Yes, it's Eric asking, that's a one-time setup step. Yes, it has to be done initially. Once it's created and put into Driven, that information is stored permanently for all future campaigns. So you never have to do that again. Now that I have set up my interface to MailChimp within Driven, the option that I see here in my MailChimp settings is to be able to enable this particular campaign for mail broadcasting, because every campaign by default is not enabled for email broadcasting. Okay. Hold on a second here. I forgot to shut off my instant messenger. Let me just get this out of the way. Okay. So now that I have put in my key information, the screen that I see here is to enable the email broadcasting. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And that gives me my options. Wait a minute. I don't want to do that yet. I need to do a little bit more setup in MailChimp. Hold on a second here. Before doing that, I skipped a step here. Sorry, that interruption there kind of got me off track. So we've created a MailChimp account and gotten our API key, but there are two other requirements that need to be set up within MailChimp prior to integrating it to Driven's marketing campaign feature. And that is that there must be a template created in order to use what form you're going to use to send that newsletter out, in other words. And also there needs to be what MailChimp calls a subscriber list created. Okay? So one of the very first things that we're going to do, as it mentions here, you have to create your subscriber list and then design your forms or templates. Okay? So we will create a subscriber list here. And a list is how MailChimp monitors a group of records, because you can have different lists within MailChimp. You have the ability to have a leads list and a customer list and a prospect list, whatever you want to call them within MailChimp. So when you create a list there, you need to have the name for the list. So this is going to be my theme park leads. The default from name is when you are sending emails to this group, who do you want it to appear to come from? Because you can have different lists come from different people within the organization. Okay. And when they reply to these emails, who do you want the reply to go to? Because that can be different as well if you would like. I'm going to put in the same information in both of those fields here. The default subject line is going to be populated into the subject line of the email. So this might be theme park offerings. Okay. And as MailChimp does a really good job of giving you suggestions and more information of what it's looking for within here. So as you're clicking into each one of these fields here, it's going to give you a, remember, keep it non-spammy, set a different subject line as you create each campaign so that you don't get counted as spammers and things like that. This remind people how they got to your list is that email that says at the bottom of your email broadcast, it says you're receiving this email because blah, 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 blah. Okay. You talked to us at a trade show or something. Okay. And then last, it's going to show your address information as it's going to appear on that email address. Okay. Now, MailChimp also has the capability to track when someone forwarded that email to someone else. And the people in there can subscribe to the list as well. So you can have an email sent to you at your email address when somebody new subscribes to the list or when somebody unsubscribes or asks themselves to be removed from your list. And then you can allow your recipients to choose what format they're going to see it in, whether it's plain text, mobile, whatever. Okay. I'm going to send it out in my HTML format, so I don't want them to be able to pick it. So I'm going to leave that blank. Okay. And I save that. So now I have a list name created within MailChimp. So there's my theme park leads. Right now there's nobody in that list. Okay. I have to at least have a list name because you can populate that list from Driven into MailChimp or the other way around. You can import people into MailChimp directly and then have that information bring people into Driven. So it's a two-way communication on records and where they come from and how that list gets populated. You can either have it start from Driven and go into MailChimp, or you can have it start from MailChimp and be brought or synced into Driven. And so options for you there on how to get individuals into this list here. Okay, I'm going to leave it as this, and we're going to populate it from Driven and let that put it into MailChimp, and then I'll show you later how to actually import things into MailChimp too. So we have our list created, so that's our first step there. The other step that I was mentioning is to be able to create those forms or templates here. So let's go ahead and do one of those. So we'll design a sign-up form. Okay. I don't like this sign-up form thing. This isn't how I usually get to it, guys. In my, they've changed how the screens are set here in MailChimp. I'm trying to see if they'll let me go back to my main, just plain old dashboard screen here. My Forever Free. Here's the button I was looking for. Email templates within MailChimp. Okay, I create them that way. So when you create that template within MailChimp, you have the capability to create a new template and base it on one of their, they have a lot of different style layouts in here already kind of pre-done for you. So if you pick whichever one you like, you want yours to look similar to you know, the basic or the basic 2 columns or the 50% column one over here. Kind of gives you a picture of what that layout's going to look like. It pre-does all the layout work for you. So it's right now creating me an email template that has all of this information in it. So I can do things like put my logo in here where it says insert my image here. I click the edit button. I go pick where my logo is. And you're establishing this as your default email that's going to be going out. So it allows you to, let's go browse, find it from my local computer here. I know I got a copy of the logo in here somewhere. Where are my logos? There we go. So that is going to preview to me over here. So that's what my logo is going to look like. Okay. I can control the proportions of it, how big it is. I can resize it. I can edit the image. I can do whatever I want to with it. Okay. So a lot of control over how your images get loaded into the template within MailChimp there. And then it's going to show a preview to me right here. Okay. And this, anyone where I click on each one of the areas of text that already appears there, it tells me what it's looking for. So email a short teaser of your email content. So this might be here are our free offers or something. Okay, the text is kind of small in here, but I can control the size of the text, the font, the colors, everything else within that. Okay, so I save that section now. It's going to update over here. Boom. And I begin writing out my email. So I design what I want it to look like here. I put in my content. I put an image in there. I do whatever I want to here. I want to remove that image, let's say. I can go ahead and do that. Whatever I want to do basically with the formatting of this particular template. When I'm finished with this template, I'm going to save and exit it. And then I have to name the template. So this is going to be called my theme park template. So I name it as that. and I want to exit to my templates. Now, you can have as many templates created within MailChimp as you would like to, because just like when you're picking a list, you also pick a template from the integration between Driven and MailChimp. So I've done all my setup work on my MailChimp side now. Got my API key, got my list, got my template. I'm done. 3 things are finished. So now I'm ready to go back to my Driven screen here and enable my mail broadcasting. And when I do that, that actually logs into MailChimp and gets the lists that are available within MailChimp currently. So I see my theme park leads list in my list ID names. That's the list I want to send for this particular campaign. And I also see what templates I have available. So I want to use my theme park template. Okay, so these 2 pieces of information got populated by MailChimp automatically. Okay. Now the rest of the top of the information here is specifically from Driven. So this is going to be newsletter for July, whatever I want the subject line to be. Okay. Who is it going to come from? My email address information got populated from Driven here. So we're going to go ahead and change that to my training center. And I want replies to come to that too, as well too. Okay. So now that I filled in all those pieces of information from Driven here, when I created that, I click Create Campaign, and that brings the information from MailChimp over here to Driven. Okay. So what it's going to do here is now the copy of that template is displayed here. So I've got the full text of the template into Driven now. Now the advantage of beginning with that template is now you have the capability to modify that even further. So here, I want to take that back out again. I don't want this to say heading 4. I want this to say, dear so-and-so. I want to be able to personalize each one of these. We have the capability to do that using the merge fields function. Okay, so instead of that saying heading 4, I wanted to say dear so-and-so. So I put dear in a space, and I say I want to merge in the first name. It writes the code for me automatically of what that is. So here is just real basic limited list of things that can be merged into the email newsletters that are going to be going out. So you can do company name, first name, last name, full address, the phone number, and the source notes field, okay, which gives you the ability to be more descriptive about how somebody heard about you. They stopped by the Tampa Trade Show on Friday, something like that. You could type into the source notes field, and then that could be used to merge into an email going out. So I'll just do that person's first name now. Now, this does not permanently modify the template in MailChimp. It is specifically for this campaign only. So I modified it directly here, linked to my newsletter for the month of July. So now, once I made my change to my form here, I'm actually going to save this for a second, just to make sure I don't lose anything. Not required, but I like to be safe there. Then we'll come back to here, and we're going to go look at my email broadcast for the month of July. Marketing campaign. We'll double-click on it to open it up again. Now within there, I have my form created and saved that I want to use specifically for this campaign. Then I have to pick who's going to be receiving that, and that is listed here under the subscribers. And as I mentioned, there's 2 options for you. If I choose the sync subscribers option, that will take everybody who's in the list currently in MailChimp and bring them over to this Driven screen here. Select them, in other words. Now, it does 2 things in there. It's going to bring the MailChimp list over. Anybody that already exists within Driven, it will simply mark them as being chosen. So it will select them automatically if they already exist as either an account or a lead within Driven. If they do not already exist, it will create them as a new lead in here. Okay, so if you bring people directly into MailChimp via that import button or something like that, or if someone added themselves to that subscription list, it would create them as a new lead within Driven the next time you sync that list over from MailChimp. I'm going to, since I don't have anybody in that list yet, you see here I synced it last right now, but nobody came over because nobody selected, nobody exists in that list in MailChimp. So I'm going to choose the subscribers from the Driven side. Okay. And when you choose subscribers here, you go pick and choose which individuals you want to receive that. So I want Jen Sherwood to receive that. So I double click on her name down here in the lead screen, and that's going to add her, and she's now a subscribed sales lead over here on the right-hand side. So you get to pick and choose the different individuals that you want to be able to receive this. Now, you can do that by any one of the visible columns or any one of the selection criteria that's in here. So I want to show on here what my market is. That's what I'm using as theme park right now. And save that so I can see all my theme parks. So I'm going to save grid layout because I always want it to look like this every time I come into this marketing campaign screen, and I only want to send to people who are theme parks. So I'm going to filter this screen just things that contain part of the word theme, and here are my different theme parks. Right now I have 24 of them. Okay. And then I'm going to, I have to pick them individually, okay? So I'm going to send it to Jack, yes. Okay, Jack has opted out of marketing campaigns, so his name will not be added to the list because he has specifically asked not to receive this kind of information. Okay, so I can't send it to Jack. Send it to Sarah. Okay, oops, Sarah's opted out too. Let's find Bill. Bill got added, so Bill's Construction can go ahead and receive this email. Okay, and then I've got Tom Smith, my Disney shop, okay, Donald Duck, and all those guys. So I pick and choose who's going to be receiving this. Okay, a lot of people have opted out here. Let's see if Jane from Home Depot, yeah, okay. But you see how that screen can be useful, and you can pick and choose which individuals are going to be receiving this marketing campaign. At the top, Eric's asking, how can you add a whole list of people? Eric, yeah, this button here up at the top, instead of double-clicking on the individual names that says add all unsubscribed right now, would add anybody who's filtered over on the left-hand side of the screen automatically. Okay. And it's selecting all of those right now. So right now, everybody who was not opted out shows up in the list here. So I've only got, you know, like 5 accounts and 1 lead that have not opted out. Okay. So right now, all 5 of these individuals will be receiving this particular email broadcast. Okay, so I've set up what the broadcast is going to look like. I've picked the individuals of who's going to be receiving it, and now I need to actually go schedule the send. Okay, so I am required by Driven to send a test email. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and send a test email to myself, because you should proofread it and check what it's going to look like in your email there. Okay. Now, in Driven, every time you do a function like that inside of there, you're going to get a message up at the top here. So it says success, a test message has been sent. Okay. And now I am able to go ahead and send it. Now, the way that MailChimp works is you schedule when that is supposed to be sent. So I can schedule it for a future date and time. Okay. So I picked the date I wanted to send today. And I wanted to send, right now it's 12/13. I wanted to send at 1 o'clock. Okay. Now, if you try to schedule it for a time that has already passed, if I try to schedule it for noon today, when I click the Schedule Now button, what Driven does is it tells MailChimp, okay, send this at noon on the 5th. And what's going to happen then is MailChimp is going to come back and up at the top of our screen here, tell us, this is a message directly from MailChimp. We don't support time travel, so you need to schedule it sometime after the current time. So we will now go back and reschedule this at 1 p.m. I'll click Schedule Now, and that gets sent over to MailChimp as a pending broadcast to be sent out. Okay? And MailChimp handles the actual sending of these emails. So when we come back in here, when we go back to our lists here, now I see that there are 5 individuals within the list because Driven pushed those individuals over to MailChimp. If I want to view the list, I can see that here. Okay. I can view all the subscribers. Here's all 5 of those individual guys and the information that went over to MailChimp. There's my source. They stopped by the booth on Wednesday below. Whatever notes I had put into Driven gets pushed over to MailChimp as well. Okay. So there we go, and that is set to be sent at 1 o'clock today. Okay. Now I've got all that information over here. I can go look at my campaigns within MailChimp, and that's going to show me there's my newsletter, and it's scheduled to be sent. This says 5 p.m. I don't know why it says 5 p.m. Should have said 1 p.m. today. Right. As those get sent out of MailChimp, you start getting some analytics back. You start getting a click rate and an unsubscribe rate and those kinds of things. If you build hyperlinks into there, MailChimp tracks how many individuals clicked on those links within those emails. Okay, so you have the capability to do all of that. Now, let's go actually see if within Driven here, so I'm going to save that particular campaign. That'll go out. Okay, if I come back to my main Driven screen here, I have some that I've sent in the past already. So here's my February specials one. And that's going to show to me. Now I might have difficulties because it was linked to a different MailChimp account initially. Yeah, I was going to say it might not be able to give me my analytics. Typically what happens here, and it will show, at least it'll show you a preview of the kind of information that you're going to get back here. But if I go back to my newsletter for July, once these have actually sent and been transmitted by MailChimp, down in this section here, I will be able to see how many emails have been sent, how many people clicked on links within those, how many people forwarded it to other individuals, how many of those forwards got opened, how many people reported you as abusive, and how many people unsubscribed as a result of that particular email broadcast. So you get a lot of reporting back into Driven itself and a lot of visibility of what happened and what went on. But MailChimp also offers you quite a bit of reporting and analytics and things like that on emails that got sent out. So once this gets sent, you're going to be able to see how many people clicked, what your typical rate is versus another kind of a customer, that kind of thing. And let me go. Currently paused because I went in to edit it. Okay. So a lot more reporting capability and things like that within MailChimp here. Now, the one thing that we did not talk about yet, which I said I was going to mention, is the ability for you to import individuals directly into MailChimp. Okay, so you got a list of potential prospects. Maybe you don't want all of those people. You don't want to data import them into Driven directly. You can data import them into MailChimp. Okay, so if I go back to my lists here and I want to do an import, I can do an import from a CSV or Excel file or something like that. So within MailChimp here, I'm going to import. I can either copy and paste directly from Excel, or I can import from a file that I already have. So I'm going to choose Import from File here. I'm going to browse and go find my file. Okay. And these are actually some files of reports that I've gotten from another system here. Here, let me go do a training customer CSV file. Okay. When I import that list, that is going to show to me here. Here are the column names that are in your spreadsheet, and what do you want to match them to within MailChimp. So this column is going to be, this is the account number from Out of Driven, so maybe I don't want that. So I'm just going to delete that whole column. We're going to ignore it. Okay, this is the company name. It matched it to that, yes. So here is the company name. This is a sample of my records in here. Okay, my first name, it matched that automatically. Last name matched that automatically. So we're going to say okay to this, okay to this, okay to this, match the email address, okay to that. And those were the only columns that I had within my spreadsheet. So I pick all done here, and that is going to import it on MailChimp schedule. It doesn't usually take too long. I've imported 100, 500 people into MailChimp, and I like to use the email me when it's done feature. But right now it's telling you that it's still doing the import process. Okay. What that will do is it'll check to see the people that are already in there, and then it will go ahead and bring in any new ones. Eric mentions here, if you get a large number of leads from a trade show, would it be better to import all those into Driven first and then integrate with MailChimp? Totally up to you, Eric. I have some customers who do it either way. Like I mentioned, there's a little bit more flexibility on the MailChimp side on importing. So if you want to import it into MailChimp first and then sync the list from MailChimp into Driven using that sync subscriber screen. So we're working on this here. Let's say that I want to go ahead and I'm going to choose the email me when it's done. It's probably done already. Okay. So it's done. Here it tells me the import finished before it could send to me. I had one email with a syntax error. I can go look at that one. There was one called, didn't have an email address at all. So it couldn't import that particular record. Okay. 2 emails were role-based, which MailChimp does not allow. So it didn't import those. Okay, but 66 got added here. Okay, so now my list has 71 subscribers in it. Okay, and those subscribers right now exist only within MailChimp. So if I go, and I'm going to temporarily deactivate this for now because I don't actually want it to go send to all of those individuals. So hold on a second here. Keep it paused. Okay. So it's paused. Now what that did though is that updated my list within MailChimp. If I want that list updated within Driven here, I would need to be in my Driven marketing campaign, and I would want to sync subscribers. So it's going to sync again for me. It's going to go compare against that MailChimp list. And it's taking a minute because there's 71 people in that list now instead of 5. And I've never synced with a paused campaign before. It should still sync without a problem. But it's currently bringing all those people into Driven. Okay, my list comes back here. It did not match any of those to existing accounts that exist within Driven right now. But you'll notice down here my leads list has gotten quite a bit longer. I have 67 people in as leads now. So they got created in Driven as a new lead based upon them being put into MailChimp. So Eric's asking if MailChimp scrubs the list. Yes, because when you import into Driven, all it does is simply compare to see if there's a duplicate entry that already exists. It will import any data that you bring into Driven. But MailChimp, yes, does attempt to do some cleanup of it and check for those role-based emails and things like that that it does not allow. And then as long as they got accepted into MailChimp, when you sync that list, they get added into Driven as a lead. So now I'm going to go ahead and save this marketing campaign within Driven. And I'm going to be able to see those particular leads. If I go back to my leads and contact screen in here, now I've got a whole bunch of leads here. Let me go back to my next screen here. Where did I go? Oh, here, leads at the top. So I've got Bright Core Nutrition. I've got this guy. I can double click on him. Here's all of his information that came over from MailChimp. And you note his source is the newsletter from July, and that goes into the source notes field as well. So it populated that automatically based on that information there. And I didn't have a lot of information in my export that I sent over to MailChimp, so I didn't have address and all of that, so that didn't get populated automatically. Okay. But that is the basics of how Driven integrates to a new MailChimp marketing campaign. Now I actually do want to show you some of the reporting, some of the analytics out of MailChimp here. So I'm going to log out of this test account here, which, by the way, MailChimp, that integration is free as long as you subscribe or as long as you adhere to these two rules, that you have less than 2,000 subscribers and you can only send 12,000 emails per month. So if you have more than 2,000 people or you want to send more than 12,000 emails per month, then you need to upgrade your MailChimp account. Let me log out of this training MailChimp account here and actually log in using our real live one. And I forget if I have to have that. Yeah. I don't usually use this through Internet Explorer, so hold on. I'm going to open it in Firefox because I know that I have my login info already in here. We'll cheat. Do it the easy way. During CRM sales, that's it. Okay. We'll log into our real live account, which we have upgraded. Okay. We actually have upgraded ours from the free version because we have more than the normal number of subscribers there. But if we go to one of our campaigns here, and actually from my main dashboard screen there I could have seen it. Here are the some of the different campaigns that we've sent out. On the 21st I sent a webinar training schedule campaign. If I go look at the details of that one, okay, I'm able to see the information that got sent out. Okay, I don't like this overview screen. Oh, I want to see the report. That's the one that I like. So this shows me here that there were 28 opens, and that's a 41% versus how many I sent out. Okay. According to my list average, I'm at 40%. The industry average is 17.4%. So I'm actually above industry standards. I had no people unsubscribe. I had no complaints. I had 7 clicks on that. Okay, so 7 individuals clicked on that. If I click on this clicks hyperlink here, I can find out the individual links that they clicked on. So 7 people clicked on this registration link. Okay. And if I click on that again, I should be able to see who actually did that. There's one of these screens that I can actually see who the unique clicks were. Apparently it's not from this screen here. Oh, that's me clicking on the link. You're going to let me go back there? Eric's asking, can you import a number of leads, large group, into MailChimp to verify that list? Well, Eric, when you choose subscribers from Driven and then that list posts over to MailChimp, MailChimp's going to scrub it as well. So MailChimp's going to check it for that information too. Okay. I know there's a way that I can actually, there we go, that's what I was looking for. So in my webinar, there were a number of people that clicked on this particular registration link. Here are the people, the actual individuals who clicked on it. Okay, so I'm able to see their detail, and I'm able to see when they looked at things. So I can track down who's clicking on things and what they're looking at. Eric's asking if that list is then saved back into Driven. From the perspective, Eric, that if you were to sync the subscribers back to Driven, yes, it would go ahead and update that list in that marketing campaign. Now, it would not remove those people from Driven. They'd still be in Driven. They just would not be receiving that particular email then because it got scrubbed by MailChimp. So I see in here who opened that. So a lot of reporting capabilities on the MailChimp side for what that information has sent over, or reporting reporting capabilities within MailChimp. A lot of those for you on some data analysis kind of stuff. And MailChimp does a good job on its dashboard of showing your most recent campaigns and how many got sent out and how your lists are looking and things like that, and gives you kind of that main screen, gives you updates on, okay, somebody updated their profile, somebody subscribed to the Driven CRM trial request, okay, what country they're looking from. I got Canadian customers and what is that? Ireland. We got people in Ireland looking. Okay. So a lot of capabilities on the MailChimp side. MailChimp also does a real good job of kind of helping you out. They've got some tutorials and things like that, and just some funny sayings and stuff that they like to put in there. It's all available to you on the MailChimp side. Any other questions so far regarding that kind of information? Because that really kind of covers the whole basics of Driven's marketing campaign features. Okay. Well, in that case, thanks for attending today's webinar. You can, as you know, we have updated our training schedule on the calendar there, so you can review those at any time, attend any one of those sessions that you would like to then. We offer them pretty frequently now. We're getting more and more frequent on those scheduling type things, and we will be sending out some newsletters regarding that as well, but you can always look at that training calendar for the most up-to-date schedule for any of our sessions. Thanks, and have a great day.